Good afternoon. Please take your seats or find standing room in the back. The program will begin in just a few minutes.
and innovative, and some tried and true ways to get closer to that vision.
My name's Eric Kingston. I've been an East End resident since 1994, and I'm a professional economic and community developer, and I have a particular interest in housing and fair housing. I'm really interested in making sure that we have a city that welcomes everyone. Part of that means creating housing types and price points that meet the needs and incomes of all people that live in Boise. When the mayor was a candidate, she invited several people involved in housing in this area to a series of conversations about what might work in Boise, what was working in cities like Boise. What impressed me was, first of all, being asked to talk about this with other folks. And second, when I saw the city's housing plan, it reflected a lot of the things that we talked about. Citizens are much more likely to be involved in civic activities when they believe that that involvement is going to have meaning. The idea is that we need to exercise our civic muscles by getting involved in projects and getting involved in neighborhood activities and overall community activities. And it's sort of like working on your civic health, I guess. Our goal is really to create a city and a state that are welcoming and safe and create opportunities for mobility, access, and connectivity for people of all abilities.
Hi, my name is Dana Zuckerman. I am a parent of teenagers here, and I sit on the Design Review Committee, and I work in a cross-section of housing, public spaces, and public art. One of the things I heard often from local business owners and from people who were looking at the city as a potential place to move their business was that they had a concern about housing. And so part of our work over at the Urban Renewal Agency in conjunction with the city was to do what we could to promote and actively build more affordable housing at all different levels. If we can't house employees, then companies can't be here. And if companies can't be here, then there's no tax base, and there's no one to eat in our restaurants and to shop in our stores. And it's a chicken and egg effect. And I've heard a lot of people say, like, let the market determine the housing, but if you talk to business owners, they understand that that can't happen because they need employees, and they need employees who don't have a 2-hour commute to their job anywhere in Boise, Idaho. And the only way to resolve that is to build more affordable housing. You know, there are apartments for all income levels under construction all over the city. That should help shorten commute times for a lot of people. Not everyone works downtown, not everybody works down State Street, people work in all different places. And so having housing near your place of employment is not just helpful, but necessary for a lot of people. And I saw that as a big part of economic development, because if people can't find employees who can afford to live in Boise, they can't run a business.
It is our city, and we're all a part of building its brighter future. Hi, my name is Rielyn Flores. I'm the Executive Director at Conservation Voters for Idaho. Boise's leading not only here in the Treasure Valley, but it's both leading statewide and in the Intermountain West when it comes to climate action. And it's really exciting because it's a part of building resiliency in our communities so that we can ensure the things that we all enjoy today, our land, air, water, lovely foothills behind me, are something that our kids and grandkids can continue to enjoy. Climate action is a key critical component of that, the ways in which we have longer, hotter wildfire seasons and its impact on our air quality, its impact on the different populations in our community, whether they're their children or they're our grandparents. So it feels like a way in which we're innovating and accelerating climate action in a way that will provide resiliency for Boise and its residents into the future. And we don't see that in many places, not only here in Idaho, but across the nation. I have a 3-year-old daughter, and I think about what it means for her growing up in a city where it's bikeable and walkable, where she can go to the river and catch her first fish, or where she can learn what it's like to mountain bike in our foothills and think about raising her own family here in Boise. And that wouldn't happen without the climate action and the resiliency that is in partnership with the innovation and economic prosperity that comes together with those three initiatives together that will make our city a place that I believe not only I can live and work and raise my family here, but future generations as well.
Oh, that was awesome.
This is why I do this job.
Nice.
It's the same reason that you're here today. Because I love Boise. Because it's given so much to me and my family. Because I want my kids and your kids to be able to come back to build their lives. Because I want my grandkids and your grandkids to play in our parks and jump in our river. Because I want us to continue to build on the connections we have to each other as we focused on the things we have in common to tackle the most pressing issues of the day. Now is the time to work together, to prepare our city for its future so that future generations find in Boise what we all have today and love, and they find even more.
Everyone, please welcome to the stage President and CEO of St. Alphonsus Health System and Boise Metro Chamber Board Chair, Odette Bolano.
Thank you, and welcome to the 2023 Mayor's State of the City Address. The Boise Chamber appreciates the partnership with the City of Boise, and at this time, I would like to recognize the Boise City Council and the elected officials that are here. If you would please stand and be recognized. This year's State of the City is presented by Idaho Central Credit Union and Intermountain Health, co-sponsored by the Gardner Company, Albertsons, St. Alphonsus Health System, Blue Cross of Idaho, Micron Technology, and J.R. Simplot Company. The supporting sponsors are listed on the screen and in your program. Just a quick reminder that following the mayor's remarks, there will be a quick reception up in the Gardner Terrace, sponsored by POS Architect Planning and Interior Design. And now it is my absolute privilege to introduce Mayor Lauren McLean. She is, since January 2020, when she was sworn in as the 56th mayor of Boise, and the first woman elected to that position over a 150-year history, she has left no stone unturned to position the city of Boise to be the most inclusive, business and family-friendly city for all. She is well known to be a courageous advocate for open space conservation, leading nationally acclaimed climate action efforts and working tirelessly to create an inclusive city for everyone. As all are aware, Mayor McLean became mayor at the onset of the pandemic. These were not ordinary times for any city, nationally or globally. From the onset, as we navigated through various stages of the pandemic, Mayor McLean was present and frequently extended a hand to see how she and the city of Boise could be a resource in her commitment to keep our community healthy, and in particular, the vulnerable populations. I would be remiss if I didn't also mention that the mayor's support and partnership in addressing community need, and in particular, the growing problem of access to affordable housing. Mayor McLean keeps the best interests of our community top of mind in all that she does. Her vision is to create a city that truly is for everyone, one that offers equitable access to housing, living wage jobs, transportation, and a seat at the table for the residents when decisions about the future of Boise are being made. We all know Mayor McLean is a champion for the residents of Boise. Today, Boise is considered one of the best cities with some of the best public schools in America, one of the healthiest cities in America, one of the best places to raise a family in America, and one of the best cities to retire in America. It is my privilege to introduce to you Mayor Lauren McLean.
I can hug you. Thanks. Appreciate it. I'm gonna take a sip. Well, hello, everybody. Oh my goodness, there are so many of you. Wow, it is wonderful to see you all, and it's really great to be back here at Jump to talk about my favorite subject, our city. But first, Odette, I want to say thank you. I walked in a little early. I thought I was ready to start, coming up here and start speaking. I didn't expect to hear your full introduction, and there you are. I really appreciate it very, very much. I want to thank St. Al's, of course, your team, but you. And you mentioned the work that we did together in partnership during COVID. And I got to say to everyone, whether it was Odette or Chris Roth or David Peterman, as we came together as leaders and really got to know each other so shortly after I was elected mayor, I deeply appreciate not only the care you provided your employees, our community, but the care you provided me and the partnership you provided me as I tried to navigate the decisions that had to be made so quickly after I was elected. And it was in that time that I got to know you and other leaders, but you in particular, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. I want to thank the Chamber Board of Directors and, of course, the staff for your service and for helping to put this together today. And I also want to thank Bill as he retires for the 15 years service you provided our community. Thank you so much, Bill, and I think we should give him a round of applause. There are so many people that I would like to recognize today, but first I'm going to start with our City Council. It's your partnership and commitment to the city that makes all the work that we're doing possible. And I want to thank Council President, I'm looking in the crowd, oh, right there, sorry. Council President Holly Woodings, Council President Pro Tem Jay Halliburton, Council Members Patrick Bajent, Colin Nash, Lucy Willits, and LaTonya Haney-Keith. Really appreciate the partnership and service that you each provide the city. And to our city employees, many of you are here today, our department directors are. You spend your days and nights thinking about and working to ensure that we're a safe and welcoming city for everyone. And it's really your passion, not only for this community, but for people, your ability to see challenges as opportunities, and your deep, deep focus on delivering results for today while preparing for the future that makes each and every one of you exceptional partners in this work. And many of us are here today, but even more are working, making sure that we're continuing to be able to provide the service that residents need in this community and our community relies on. So I'm grateful, deeply grateful, for the opportunity that I get to work along all of you that are here as well as you that are not in service to this great city. So thank you to our city employees. Today I'll talk about our community, the state of our city, not only what we've accomplished, but where we are headed. I've had the honor, truly an honor, to serve the city in various ways for over 20 years, because we're a city that welcomes volunteers and really engaged residents, and we want that. I helped plan for parks that we're building today as a volunteer on the Parks Commissioner in my early 20s, often with a baby in a stroller sleeping by my side, or a toddler like Fiona over here in my lap at meetings. I helped write our city's comprehensive plan, Blueprint Boise, as a volunteer planning and zoning commissioner in my 30s. That gave me the chance to listen to hundreds of residents, to hear what we hoped the future of our city would hold. And then as a member of the City Council, I was so lucky to be able to pass that plan and to work with others to write ordinances to protect all from discrimination, to set goals for clean electricity. And now as your mayor, I have brought all of these experiences and the truths that I learned along the way and when leading the Foothills to campaign to protect our foothills 20 years ago to this job. In this role, as in all the others I've held in service to Boise, I've experienced nearly daily the same lesson that I learned in my early 20s here. Boiseans are at our best when we're working together. And we always, always manage to beat the odds. In Boise's earliest days, we created an oasis. We moved water through sagebrush deserts to grow food and to create our home. We harnessed geothermal water to heat our homes. We tended to this place. We protected it. We launched businesses that became global innovators and leaders. We created parks and pathways. We protected open space and our precious Boise River. And perhaps most importantly of all, we cared for and we have never given up on the people of this city. Each of us is so proud of our Boise, so fierce in our defense of her, and we know that it takes work to keep her our oasis in the desert. An oasis has got to be resilient in a warming, water-scarce climate. It's got to overcome steep national challenges like housing scarcity and labor shortages. And it must withstand perhaps the greatest challenge of all, a hostile political climate that seeks to divide us, asks us to turn against our neighbors, to undo the very bedrock of our civil society. But even through challenging times, even through these challenging times, I am betting on Boise. I'm betting on Boise, a community of people who have, generation after generation, rolled up our sleeves, worked hard together, and beat the odds. We will keep this, our oasis, our safe and welcoming Boise for everyone, because we don't give up, and we don't give up on each other. This is how we're beating odds. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. In this region, in our own city, it's been more and more difficult to find a good, affordable home, a place to live. So I've worked with public and private partners to deliver on a promise: more housing at Boise budgets, so that kids today feel that same sense of stability that a home brings, so we can experience the joy of our own kids coming home as adults, able to find a home and build a life. I set goals for Boise because I know that what gets measured gets managed, and it gets done. And because I know Boiseans respond to goals, because we like to meet challenges head on. So together with public agencies, private partners, we are beating the odds on housing, and we are ahead of schedule. At State and Arthur, we used our land to incentivize partnership with private business. So next fall, kids will be able to walk out of the doors of their homes over to Taft Elementary School. Their parents can jump on the bus on State Street, brings them downtown to work, back home in the evenings, and after school, families can spend time with neighbors at our nearby library and in nearby parks. I want to thank CCDC for your commitment to partnering for affordable housing, and to Pacific companies responding to our call. You brought your passion for Boise, for housing, and to people for this project. This collaboration means new homes for Boiseans, so thank you so much. By the end of this year, we will have opened 250 new homes, affordable homes. And by the end of 2026, we'll have opened another 1,100 affordable homes. These homes are all shapes and sizes for families of all shapes and sizes. They're single-family homes on the West Bench They can be ADUs on land provided by Collister United Methodist Church, apartments above vibrant retail spaces at 6th and Grove, and soon to be apartments next to Franklin Park above retail spaces and a child care center that will welcome 80 kids. And with the help of affordability incentives included in our modern zoning code, they can also be cottage courts, duplexes, triplexes, all of which blend gently into our neighborhoods just like they did in the Boise of 100 years ago. Working with partners like Boise City Ada County Housing Authority and Jesse Tree, thank you, we provided just over $38 million in rental assistance that kept nearly 9,000 families in this city home. And I directed our team to make sure that the Boiseans who stayed at the Red Lion since COVID, families, folks with medical needs, weren't suddenly out on the street. Because while we work on permanent solutions, we're going to take care of people today. Now, I want to be clear. We will not repeat the mistakes of other cities. We will not give up on our neighbors. And we will work diligently for solutions that help folks become self-sufficient. That's why on flat dirt, over that direction next to Station 5, we're planning for 50 homes for Boiseans who are currently experiencing homelessness, with the supportive services they need like healthcare, mental health counseling, and substance use disorder treatment that they need to become healthy, self-sufficient, and permanently housed. And it's why, together with the City Council, I'm proposing protections for Boise renters. We've seen too many stories of late of folks getting last-minute news that they've got to vacate their homes, and it's time that our renters have assurances and predictability about their leases and the rules around them. Housing has indeed been a focus, a relentless focus of mine for the past 3 years. And even through other challenges, we've kept our eyes on the prize. Delivering homes for people as quickly as we could with creativity, collaboration, and courage. You know, as a kid, even when my family struggled financially, I was lucky enough to live in an apartment with lots of kids nearby. I could run out the door and play in a sandbox. I could head inside when I needed something. That sense of security, knowing that I had a place, as my parents were just setting out with my mom at home and my dad still in grad school, was really a foundation for me. And as our family grew, my parents saved. And we moved into our first house, an experience I'll never forget, both the walking in and the sounds around it, but that I had a yard to play in and trees to climb. And while I worried as a kid about a lot of things, a roof over my head at night wasn't one of them. Every kid should feel that same certainty, and every parent should have the opportunity to find a home that they can afford. And for those in the working middle class, you get it. We know that a stable, safe place to live is everything, because a home's a foundation for a whole world. And it's needed to make sure that kids are cared for and they can focus on the important things like school. To be close to jobs, close to the things we need, close to food and healthcare, close to the good things in life like parks and libraries, just strengthens that foundation. And employers, as employers, you all know that. You know that to attract and retain the best workforce in these super competitive times, employees need homes they can afford. And we've all seen what's happened in other cities when they failed to prioritize housing. Homes for all kinds of people on all kinds of budgets. It's like putting up invisible walls and worsening inequality and forcing people out. But we can do better in Boise, and I'm taking the steps that we must to make sure that we do. By partnering to provide homes at Boise budgets, our neighborhoods remain strong, our people are cared for, and we protect the Boise we know and love today for our kids and theirs. We maintain this oasis that we call home. And by definition, an oasis keeps people safe. Everybody in Boise deserves to feel safe, to know that we will keep it that way as well. In fact, our violent crime rates and our property crime rates are the lowest they've been in decades. Would you like some water? I'll give you my water. I'm sorry. Sorry. I want to say that this isn't an accident. We've made the kind of steady, high-impact investments that prioritize safety, justice, and accountability to keep Boise from making the mistakes that we've seen in other major cities in our region. In the past 3 years, we've doubled our behavioral health unit, pairing sworn officers with mental health professionals so that people experiencing mental health crises get the help that they need. We've added community liaison officers to better reach and serve traditionally underrepresented communities within our own city. And I am so excited, we are so excited, to welcome 20 future officers to the Police Academy this summer, the largest class we've seen in years. And I want to thank the chief for that. Ron, thank you. This was a priority of his, yours, a priority of mine, and I appreciate all that you've done to make that possible, and we're looking forward to welcoming these new officers. And increased investments in community policing the Boise way mean we'll have more sworn officers who are known in our neighborhoods and trusted by our residents, because it's that personal connection Boiseans look for in one another. Because in Boise, we are focused on prevention, connection, and relationships. It's working. In 2020, I invested in street outreach teams through Catch to make sure that our most vulnerable, unhoused Boiseans had the services that they need. And this team also partners really closely with BPD so that they can involve all those that need services with the organizations they need, so that they can link and create relationships with the people that need that help. It's so that we provide service, prevent crime, but to be clear, we also hold folks accountable when it's necessary. We're also investing in our fire department. As our city grows, we gotta make sure that our firefighters have what they need to respond when they're called. And I'm proud to let you know that my budget proposes 4-person staffing on fire engines. This is a first for Boise, and it's important to add an extra firefighter because it keeps our firefighters safe and it keeps our Boise residents safer. Firefighters safe and safer, residents safe and safer. I want to thank Chief Niemeyer and the leadership team at Boise Fire for your leadership. Thank you so much. We remodeled Fire Station 6 on Franklin, and we're pairing a state-of-the-art and historically designed downtown fire station, Fire Station 5, with that housing that I talked about in the future. And as I promised everybody in Northwest Boise, we'll break ground on a new fire station at State and Bogart this year. And we will keep making strategic investments in public safety. Here's what's next. I'm talking with the Women and Children's Alliance about a partnership for police facilities on Willow Lane, close to the future location of Interfaith Sanctuary. And we are planning to make the Greenbelt and other areas nearby safer than they are today. We've created a public safety plan that looks at where else we'll need neighborhood police stations and where else we're going to need additional firefighters on engines, things that have never been done by the city of Boise before. In Boise, safe means safe for everyone. Everyone in our community deserves to feel safe and to be safe. And while others are targeting the most vulnerable members of our communities with discriminatory legislation, with bullying and cruelty, we are standing with them. Everyone is welcome here. Everyone has value, and we will always be vigilant in our efforts to make sure that the most targeted among us are protected. Because each of us is a Boisean, and each of us is an important part of the fabric of this city. We're investing in neighborhoods. And we're doing that because interconnected and vibrant neighborhoods enrich our lives, strengthen our city, and keep us safer. When my kids were little, they'd run out the door after school or on the weekends. They'd head over to a nearby park. I want that for every parent. I want you to have the ability to wave your littles out the door, knowing they'll safely reach a park within 10 minutes, and knowing that along the way, there are neighbors caring for neighbors. When we have what the great Jane Jacobs called eyes on the street, when we've got active, bustling front yards and porches and public gathering spaces, when we're all more closely connected, we are all safer. And to enjoy all that our city offers, and there's a lot, we gotta be able to contribute to the fabric of this community. We wanna build that life we all hope our kids will be able to. So we need jobs for today and jobs for the future. Because a good job for people of all skills gives us stability and opportunity. To be a city for everyone, we must take steps to build an economy for everyone. So those are the goals I set. Those are the partnerships that I seek. Our airport's been a great partner. I directed staff, where's Rebecca? Rebecca. There, thank you. I directed staff to take our flyover lands that we have and make them available for industrial development, because we were seeing those jobs head to other regions and cities. So this year, we broke ground on the first of many industrial developments made possible by using our land creatively in collaboration with business. And on the topic of the airport, I want to thank each and every one of you also for your patience as we're working on the parking garage. I know it's a little nutty out there right now, but especially as we're completing that parking garage and then move into what's next, which is a new terminal. I want to thank you for your patience, and I want to thank the team at the airport under Rebecca Hupp's leadership for all that's been done. And we will not give up on small business either. Because I know, we all know, that small business is the backbone of opportunity in our city. And we also know that many struggled during the pandemic. So we provided $2 million in grants to 480 local businesses this year. I really loved getting notes from some of those business owners who shared the impact that grants had. And we heard from Ansatz that they were going to hire somebody to help support their chorizo factory. And from Feeling Groovy Tours, which just by the name, I feel like I need to go take a tour of Boise with them, use their grant to cover liability insurance. And I want to thank the United Way for making this possible in partnership with us. So thank you so much for all that you do in this. And because child care centers and child care teachers are absolutely necessary for economic opportunity, we provided over 1,200 teachers in Boise with grants for their work. Dawn Woods is the head teacher at Kids Are Special People, CASP. In fact, it's the child care center where my kids went. It feels like way back in the day now. She has worked there since 1990. And she told me these grants showed her that our community valued child care teachers in ways we never had before. And that she and other teachers felt so much more connected to the city, and that they're excited about where we're headed together. Because we've got to make sure that kids have care so that parents can seek opportunity and that we meet the needs of our business community. And part of that need is childcare. We need it because our job growth is up 8% since pre-pandemic levels. And so we are cutting red tape to get there. We've streamlined licensing times, and we're cutting costs and shortening the time it actually takes to open a new facility, making more spots for more kids possible. Because we don't want parents racing to find a spot or worrying about their kids. This next step helps kids, it helps families, and it'll help our businesses too. Our kids will have job opportunities right here at home too. I worked hard in partnership with the governor, with Idaho Power, with Commerce, and so many others to make sure that Micron chose Boise as their home for future R&D and their proof of concept fab. And while Micron's story is Boise's story, this investment was not guaranteed by any stretch. And I'd say it was our grit, our determination, our innovation, and frankly, Boise's values that helped win this $15 billion investment and its thousands of jobs. I want you to think about this just for a second. I met first graders at Riverside on a STEM Action Day, and I realized as they were showing me how to code that it's these first graders that when they will graduate from Timberline will have the options to go to CWI for mechatronics, to Boise State for engineering, somewhere else if they choose, but then come home and there will be jobs for them right here. In the last 3 years, I have had countless conversations with businesses that are looking to grow and invest here. And more often than not, it's our commitment to being a welcoming and diverse community, our leadership on climate, our investments in parks and open space, and our innovative plans for clean water that are mentioned as shared values and are mentioned as reasons they want to come here, just as Boiseans share these values. But I want to be clear that our work to protect this special place, to prepare for the future impacts of climate, to do the work that we do is about more than jobs. It's about protecting our health, protecting our home, this oasis, and making sure that our city thrives into the future so that the next generation inherits a clean, resilient city, rich in opportunity. As a council member with others, I set ambitious goals that our city be powered by clean electricity because Boiseans are ambitious. We really are. And as mayor, I've made sure that we'll meet them. And it's such a pleasure to say that we are on track to beat them. And we're going to take advantage of this clean electricity and save each and every one of you and all of our residents money. This year we transitioned 3 old buildings to electricity. We've planted more than 15,000 trees and nearly 150,000 seedlings to cool our neighborhoods and replenish our forests. And our public works team is innovating to develop a water system that recycles water so we don't have to use our clean drinking water to power industry and create jobs. The 10-minute walk to a park that I mentioned earlier, that sense of freedom that kids experience when they're able to do that, when they can run across the street, run to a park, we want that available to every kid. And that's why we're focusing on making sure that every Boisean is within a 10-minute walk to park and open space. And we're measuring it, using this goal to make decisions for where we buy land for parks. And what we've purchased since setting this goal, now 155,000 Boiseans can reach a park within 10 minutes. And there's more to come because I am intent, as is our city council, on achieving this goal for our kids and for our families. And because Boise is the city that she is, because of our love for this special place, the city council protected every park and open space in Boise from development forever. And I want to thank them for doing that. continue to lead. We will continue to work diligently with Boiseans to meet our goals. In the next year, we'll expand our geothermal system to extra buildings downtown. We're going to electrify City Hall West, the affordable housing that we have, and the Boise Depot. And speaking of the depot, just in April, 98 years ago, it welcomed the first passenger trains to Boise. Now before that, wagon trains brought people to Boise, and then steam and later diesel engines connected our region to the world. And for the first time in more than a generation, the chance to connect our communities, to connect our families is real. I'm working hard in partnership to make sure that this gem of a train station sees passenger trains again. In partnership with the mayors throughout this region and throughout all of southern Idaho, and with the support of our governor, our delegation, the military bases, our colleges and universities, and the tribes, we're pushing to link our city with southern Idaho and Salt Lake. Because just as we want our residents to be connected here within our neighborhoods, we want to connect our families, our college kids, our cities to each other. And thanks to the hundreds, I really want to thank the hundreds of Boiseans who shared your train stories. They were stories of connection. It made our quest and our application, but really our quest for rail, so much more personal and real. From the stories about taking the train to Shoshone to see an aunt and cousins, or to the big city, it said in there, the big city, Boise, to spend the holidays with grandparents. These stories of connection, connecting families by rail, are making our effort stronger. Together, we can do this and bring rail back. Together, I know we will do this. In the last year, in the last 3 years, we have accomplished a lot, and we will keep at it. Because this is about protecting our people, our place, this special oasis that we call home. And folks, we have been able to do all of this in these challenging times while keeping $5.7 million in property tax dollars in the hands of Boiseans, and while giving back an additional $1.2 million in property tax rebates to our most vulnerable residents. This year, I'm again presenting a budget that keeps property dollars in the hands of our residents, and I am intent on expanding the rebate program to more homeowners in the future. As the only city in Idaho to give money back to her residents, I am committed to making sure that every person that qualifies gets a rebate. We save money, we give it back, we deliver results for Boise. That's what it means to stay true to our values and to take care of people. Boiseans understand this. And I gotta share a story that in my mind is such a Boise story. I asked my team to make sure that every Boisean who qualified for our new property tax rebate got it. But you have to apply. But I wanted to make sure because they need it, because they deserve it, and because I said I'd do all that the city could do to save money for folks while meeting the needs of our community today and into the future. And so our staff, our city staff, hit the streets, doing the thing that we know worked. We knocked on doors. We went directly to the homes of people who hadn't yet returned the form to get their rebate. We talked to people on their porches, their front yards, sometimes on their doorsteps, and one person talked to somebody in their house with dogs running all around. And I really loved hearing the stories, because the impact that this rebate will have for them, that before they answered that knock on the door was unknown to them, is real. One gentleman that's still living in the home that he grew up in, and he's in his 80s, said to our staffer that he couldn't believe, first, that such a program existed, but then second, that somebody had actually showed up to knock on his door, to fill out the form, and turn it in for him. Our City of Boise team embodies what Boiseans have always shown: a fierce commitment to others in our community, motivation to achieve the goals that we set, a willingness to talk to our neighbors because we know that gets better results. That's how we keep this our oasis. That's how we make sure that Boise stays a haven, a safe stop, a city for everyone. I'll never forget the moment that I first saw this city that we call home. And a day hasn't passed since that experience that I haven't experienced the wonders of this place and of our people. I want to thank my husband, Scott. Thank you. His parents, Daryl and Rod, who live with us now. You know, I've known them since I was 16, and usually you'd think you don't want to know your in-laws since you were 16. But I'm so grateful to have had really an extra set of parents along the way and to have them here at home with us too. You know, Scott and I were college sweethearts, or high school sweethearts, just out of college when we set out here, and we decided to follow the markers of the Oregon Trail to Boise, a much less scenic way than if we'd just gone through the mountains. But it was an adventure, because like so many before us, that's how we'd gotten here. And like so many before us, Boise offered us opportunity. It fulfilled our dreams to find a job, to buy a home, to be happy and active together, to have a neighborhood where our kids could walk to school and know the adults all around who help keep them safe. And Madeline and Aiden are off at college and building their careers with their first jobs, but I hope, as I know every parent does, that at some point along the way, we'll be welcoming them home. And I hope that their kids will do the same. I felt called to get involved in my community, just like Boiseans always have. I learned as a newly married young mom that as Boiseans, we could do just about anything we set our minds to when we do what we do best, and that is listen to each other, to live our shared values, to seek things that bring us together rather than divide us, to talk to each other on porches, in backyards, in our parks, on our trails, to work hard. And when we do these things together, we always beat the odds. Imagine if we didn't do what Boiseans always do. If we let people that seek to divide us win. If we gave up on people rather than caring for them during the hardest of times. If we turned on each other or gave into fear, as some hope we will, particularly in these divisive political times. Well, folks, we know that this isn't Boise. This isn't who we are, because we are a people who sense and feel the fierce urgency of now in making sure we're a safe and welcoming city for everyone. We roll up our sleeves with grit, determination, and smiles as we confront challenges and turn them into opportunities. We are people who deliver results. We are people who beat the odds. So Boise will always beat the odds. We are a magical city made possible in the desert, tucked against the foothills with the sounds of a wild, clean river running through it. We are a safe and welcoming city for everyone, made by and for people who stand with each other. And it's truly an honor to stand with each of you, working side by side to protect this oasis that we call home. This is our Boise, and I thank you so much.